Namaste, and a very warm good afternoon to all the students, the staff, faculty, management of DB Education, Shubhashri Academic International College, SAIC, Triton International School and College, and all of the viewers for joining us today for our online talk show podcast series, the 10th episode, themed Youth Inspiration and Knowledge. I would also like to take this opportunity to wish all the women a very happy Tej. I dedicate this 10th episode to this Tej festival. The topic of our today's talk show is Be You, Be Unique, Nepal's only ventriloquist. We welcome our respected guest and speaker for this session, Ms Seema Golchha. Seema, thank you and please welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tarun, and thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Thank you once again, Seema. Now, just to give the viewers a little background on Ms Seema, she is a self-taught ventriloquist and a housewife turned stand-up comedian. Ventriloquism is a dying art, and Ms Seema has introduced this age-old art in Nepal, being Nepal's only ventriloquist. She has created a niche for herself with this talent, and she has a great sense of humor. She has been performing in Nepal and India regularly, and has also taken her acts on various international stages. She is probably the only Asian comic who has shared the stage with Jerry Seinfeld and Leno at the same time at Gotham Comedy Club in New York, United States. She is Seema Golchha. Now, I would like to dig into the questions. So my first question for today, Seema, is that you were a full-time housewife a few years back, dedicating your entire time for your kids, family, and household matters. And then you decided to explore your own inner talents. And after much hard work and dedication, fast forward till today, and you are Nepal's only ventriloquist and also a stand-up comedian, having done countless shows across Nepal, India, and United States, and many more countries, entertaining people and spreading laughter and happiness. Could you tell us in brief your story over the last few years, Seema?
Sure. So, Tarun, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a cartoonist, and somehow that didn't work out. I got married to one, and then I wanted to give a voice to a cartoon. And because I always had this other voice inside of me, and so I thought I should try that. So when I had kids, and I live in a joint family, so I had 5, 6 kids at any given point of time. I had an audience of 6. I started doing a little bit of jokes and throwing voice that back then as a after meal story time with all the kids, and that's how it started. And when I was doing that, I thought maybe I should do it on stage and take it to a different level. Of course, I had no idea how to go about it, because with kids, I could get away with anything. I could move my lips. I had different voices, but there was no proper structure or format to the jokes and how to go about with the technique of ventriloquism. But I am a Toastmaster. So, and in Toastmasters, we had this event, a showcase event, where we decided that let's try comedy to tell people what Toastmasters is all about. It's a public speaking forum where you learn how to make impactful speeches and be good leaders. And that's when I decided, okay, let me try comedy, because humor was always my thing. But I also wanted to try something different, which nobody had even heard of back then, like ventriloquism. What is that? I can't even pronounce it. Even I couldn't back then. So obviously they were not sure. People were like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I want to. I mean, I knew it was a big risk that I was taking, because either I would create history or I would become history. I knew that. But I really wanted to do this. I wanted just to prove myself. So I thought, okay, I'll do half stand-up comedy and I'll do half ventriloquism. And I did. Of course, I made mistakes. I wasn't sure of what I was doing. But that moment, that was the day when I realized that this is what I want to do. It was an unbelievable moment. Like Mark Twain says, the 2 most important days of your life are, 1, the day you were born, and 2, the day you find out why. And that was my day when I found out that this is what I want to do in life.
But we got your answer clearly, Seema. Thank you for taking that question. I would like to move to the next question now, Seema. So, ventriloquism is a centuries-old form of art. And today, you are one of the few people globally who have practiced it and have mastered this art. Could you explain to the viewers the meaning of ventriloquism Also would appreciate a small gig for us to watch you perform as a ventriloquist. Please.
Thanks, Tarun. So when people ask me, when I tell them that I'm a ventriloquist, I usually get three kinds of reactions. One is like, ventilo, what? Obviously, they've never heard of this term. And I said like, okay, I will explain it to you. I will show you. Then the second kind of people are like, oh, you're a ventricologist, which makes me sound like a doctor. I'm like, okay, I can get used to this, like a cardiologist or a gynecologist, and I am a ventricologist. And then there are third people they even pronounce it better than I do. They say, oh, you're a ventriloquist. Can you make this cup talk? Can you make my husband talk? And I actually do that sometimes when I'm on stage. I do make human puppets. I make puppets talk. But for those who don't know how to pronounce it, I usually tell people that I have done the study of three worlds: the heaven, earth, and hell. So ventriloquist, there's a triloque in between, and that's how you remember this term.
Okay.
And what I do is I make regular, boring things fun, like everyday things like drinking water, for example. No. Hello? Hello? Oh, I'm going to drink you. Oh, the children. So,
Marvelous.
yes, this is what ventriloquism is. And I do throw a voice. Now, when I perform on stage, I usually obviously don't work alone. I have a friend in the back. And before I bring him out, I'll give you a little background about him. He's old and he's rude because he's had some issues in the past, like drugs, rehab. Oh, cut the crap and get me out of here. Okay. So, Tarun, give it up for Jack Denials.
Welcome on stage, Jack Denials. Welcome to the show.
I think you've gone crazy. No, I haven't gone crazy. You're talking to a computer. No, I am not talking to a computer. There is this person, Tarun, and a whole lot of people are watching us live on computer right now. Oh, why is he sitting in a box? Well, this is the new normal. We're doing a show on Zoom, and everybody has to sit in boxes, and look really nice waist up. Oh, and waist down? Oh, waist down, it doesn't matter what you wear. Oh, so everyone is like Donald Duck, right? Like Donald Duck? Yeah. What do you mean? Really dressed waist up and nothing down? Waist down? No, not nothing, but yeah, something comfortable. That's what people would wear. So you want to say thank you to him? Why? Because when I said give it up for Tarun, he clapped for you. Oh.
Exactly, I did. Jack Denials. I would like to ask you a few questions, Jack Denials, if that's fine with you.
Okay, go on, shoot. Okay, go on, ask him a few questions.
Okay. The thing is that I'm familiar with Jack Daniels, but you're the first person I know Jack Denials. So why is your name Jack Denials?
You want to answer that, Jack? Yeah, because I like to be in high spirits. High spirits? Yeah. No, Jack, for that, you have to be called Jack Daniels, like he said, not Jack Denials. So why Jack Denials? Because I'm Jack and you live in denial.
Oh my God.
No, I don't live in denial. Look where your hand is. Don't laugh, okay, Tarun? It hurts. Okay.
I'm sorry. My apologies. Thank you. Now I know why you call. Now I know why you call Jack Denials. Though I would not 100% agree with you because you tended to, sort of disregard my guest out there. That's not cool, okay, Jack Denials. Now I have a next question.
Yes,
I have my next question to you. I have a next question for you.
Okay.
Do you get to travel with Ms Seema most of the times, Jack?
Yes, I do. I get to travel all over the world. But lately, what happened? She only takes me for guilt trips.
Where?
On her guilt trips. On my guilt trips, like this one. No, this one is not a guilt trip. This is a Zoom show. Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Jack. Now I have a third question for you, Jack.
Shoot.
We are on a live show right now, Jack. So please be aware of that. So since we have so many viewers, do you have any message for the viewers, Jack Denials?
Where are the viewers? Well, viewers are there. They're watching us live. So you want to say something like give a nice message? Okay, fine. What is your message, Jack? You should do what you fear the most. Yeah, that's a good message. You should always do what you fear the most. I'm really afraid of my ex-girlfriend.
Oh, okay, okay.
Now, can you
That's
just give us a nice message? Can you tell everyone, like, just give us something like, okay, tell us what is the meaning of life? Oh, the meaning of life is to give life a meaning.
oh,
Okay,
wow,
that's a
Jack,
good one. So I think
wow.
with that, can we send now that you know what ventriloquism is? Yeah, you can go. No, no, you can go now. It'll be Tarun and I talking to each other. Oh, all the best, Tarun.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you. Now I would like to talk to your human counterpart, Jack.
Okay,
Seema,
at
please.
your own risk, okay? Okay, yeah, he's going to do this at his own risk. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack Denials. Seema, I think, yeah, I think that was a brilliant example for the viewers of what ventriloquism is actually all about. And I I think there's a lot of speaking from your stomach, and it was wow, so complicated,
Yeah,
really.
it's back to back talking. I have to make you believe that this is another person talking. It's not me talking at the same time. Of course, there are a lot of people who ask me, is this pre-recorded? How is this thing talking to her? And why does this puppet only talk to her and nobody else? So obviously these are huge compliments for me because they believe that this is pre-recorded or this is somebody else talking, which makes me believe that what I'm doing is pretty good. Even though I feel I really have a long way to learn this art, there's a lot of technique and there's a lot of ways where I can improve or where I can learn more and even try three. I have tried three voices, three characters, which so I have two puppets in either hand and me. So we are talking. It's a lot of fun and very complicating, but very fulfilling.
Wow, wow, fantastic. And I can imagine how difficult that must have been at least having two puppets. With one, we saw the challenges, and having two, would be a pleasure to watch you perform having two puppets sometime in the future. I hope.
Someday do follow me and you will see in one of my long shows I do have two puppets. So JD
Okay.
meets DJ. I have another puppet called DJ and where they have a kind of a competition going on which one is better. So
Oh, wow, wow, wow. I can imagine that'd be very tough competition looking at how Jack denies how rude he is. So I can only hope the other character is a balancer. Thank you so much, Seema, for giving us a beautiful example of what ventriloquism actually is. Now I'd like to go to the next question, Seema. It's connected to this idea of unique talent, because what we just saw today was a very unique talent, Nepal's only. So, which brings me to the next question. This talent that you have is very unique to you. And I'm sure similarly, plenty of youths today would have their own unique respective talents. However, they usually lack courage to explore such talents. And in some cases, people have unique talents, but they aren't even aware of it. Can you give your comments on the journey of exploring oneself, please?
So when I tried this, obviously I had no idea how this is going to come across to my audience. And it was me stepping out of my comfort zone. That is the one thing we all need to do. Because it's nice, it's comfortable what you're doing, life is going on, it's all really good. But the moment you step out and you face your fears and you do the impossible, is when you realize your real worth. And that's when you feel good about yourself, where you've achieved something. Like Muhammad Ali says, the will must be stronger than the skill. So skill is something I didn't know I had. I'm developing. I have over a period of time, I've really developed it, but I'm still developing. There's a long way to go. But it is your will. You must want to really do this. That will make you go in that direction. So it's unique and it's just find your unique, I don't know, talent or something that makes you, something that makes you different, that's something that makes you stand out. What is it? And for that, to discover that, I think you have to keep trying. Of course, I tried a lot of things. It wasn't just comedy, just didn't come to me. I tried getting into business. I tried a lot of small things, but somehow that just wasn't me. I didn't belong there. So I kept trying and the impossible, doing the impossible. At least that time it felt impossible. But after doing it, it's amazing to have that feeling and to be able to do what you really want to do.
True, true. And it requires a lot of courage. It requires a lot of courage, I must say, for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
the
facing your fears is a lot of courage. Why do people do adventure sports? Because it's facing your fears and the feeling that you get at that time before getting up on stage, it's really scary. It's very scary out there. But when you're able to do what you do and make people laugh and make a difference in people's lives, it's so all worth it. It's so fulfilling. And
I can absolutely imagine that, becoming, because I personally love stand-up comedy myself, and being, physically present a couple of shows, even on YouTube when I watch it, and it gives me so much of satisfaction and comfort. And it marvels me sometimes that the other person has got so much of skills to demonstrate. And like you rightfully said, will must be stronger than the skill. And I think that's a really important message. And second thing, what you also said, step out of the comfort zone, and that's so true. Said that's so true. And you know what? It reminds me that I'd read somewhere about a person who, a legend, who had once said that you should fail more and more in life, and you should fail sooner, because the more you fail, that's when you realize, okay, what's next for you. A lot of times people have that level of skill, but they're scared to try it out. But at the end of the skill may not even be really good. So fail more. And thank you for taking that question, Seema. Now, I would like to move to the next question. Since you mentioned earlier in the intro that you are a part of Toastmasters Club, and I'm very familiar with this whole Toastmasters Club, from my pre-undergrad Singapore days, and what this Toastmasters does is about public speaking and leadership. So my next question is connected with that. I believe public speaking is one of the most important skills to have for all future leaders. Being a member of Toastmasters Club yourself, could you tell us the importance of public speaking for today's youth, Seema?
yes, absolutely. I feel public speaking is a life skill that everyone must work on and have it. I joined Toastmasters in 2009. That was like about 11 years ago. And 11 years ago, I thought I was a million years away from being a good speaker. Now I feel I'm a million minus 11 years away from being a good speaker. But I'm getting there. It's a long process. In Toastmasters, what we learn is how to present yourself, how to make a presentation within the time allotted to you, how to make an impactful speech, how to have a good beginning, a good body, a good closure, how to take up different roles, how to make a speech, basically how to convey your message in a given amount of time, and for people to remember your speech. Because speeches anybody can give, sometimes you realize that once somebody has a mic and you can just go on and on and on speaking, but then people go off to sleep. In Toastmasters, what happens is people give you instant feedback. It's not criticizing, it's evaluation. What we do is the evaluators tell you what your strengths are and where you can improve, your areas of improvement. What that does is it makes you want to try more. And in Toastmasters, I kept trying different speeches. And I was somebody who was like really scared of being on stage or public speaking. In fact, it was a phobia. There's a term for it. It's called glossophobia. I had that. And to be able to overcome that and to stand on stage in itself was a challenge. From there, to be able to do comedy shows and ventriloquism, I didn't just find my voice there. I found two voices through Toastmasters. And that's how I'm able to do ventriloquism. So yeah, it's a life skill that you must learn. And three things what I've learned in how to make a good speech is be sincere, be brief, and be seated. That's it.
Could you repeat that first word you said? The last three parts, sorry, the words.
To make an impactful speech, yeah, be sincere, yes, be brief, and be seated.
Sincerity, brief, and be seated.
Yeah, just don't go on and on, basically. Just sit down.
Okay. Sincerity, brief, and seated. Great. And it's so true, because when it comes to public speaking, I mean, like, I have myself gone through my own mini brief journey, across various public speakings and in my schools, colleges, and stuff. And what I realize is that it's so important. It's so important, being able to pass on your message to a broader, crowd of people. Whereas this is the biggest fear, like you said, glossophobia. I think this is the biggest fear that all the people have. But however, it's such an important skill. And this is something you can only get over if you try more and more. And just to touch up a little bit more, when it came to the Toastmasters, in fact, I'm really amazed by this idea of Toastmasters. And actually, we are planning to even collaborate with Toastmasters for our colleges. Actually, the students can get promoted and they can practice this kind of thing in a professional setting. Thank you for your sincere, brief, and seated words for on public speaking. Is that your other puppet?
Yeah, you can say that. I just throw voice, I make all these things happen, yes. But I also have to say that you have to remember one thing. You never get a second chance to make your first impression. So you have to be prepared in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like for just to give a perfect example, we are live right now, and everything is so casual and stuff, but then we won't have any rewind option over here. So similarly, when it's face to face, right? True. Thank you, Seema, for taking that question. Now, Seema, like since you mentioned, since we know that you are a stand-up comedian yourself, which brings me to my next question. Globally, stand-up comedy is one of the greatest forms of entertainment today, and it has been picking up quite a bit, even back in Nepal. So my question to you is, what does it take to be a stand-up comedian, Seema?
Firstly, you have to be honest. You have to be you. You have to be true. Secondly, you have to practice. You have to go up on stage. Because the more stage time you have, the more you will know what jokes work, what doesn't work, how you're supposed to. Sometimes you have a good joke, you have a good premise, you have a good joke, but it doesn't come out right. It's the timing or it's the way you word it. So you need to work on different styles in different ways. So that way you will eventually discover yourself. In Nepal, when I started, I did my first gig in Toastmasters in 2011. Now, that time, there was no comedy scene in Nepal back then. So I had to create. So, okay, I did my first show. It was a super hit. Now what? What do you do now? How do I come up with more material or try new stuff? There's no, like in India and abroad, you always have a certain platform. And there used to be regular open mics, where open mic is a place where comedians go and they try new material, or new comics or old comics trying new material. That used to happen everywhere. The concept is now introduced in Nepal. It is happening very regularly and it's a lot of fun. This is in fact one of the upcoming careers that people would like to consider, and you should, because it's gaining importance. Earlier it did not have so much importance because people would prefer rather go for music or some kind of other kind of entertainment, because they would think that just to laugh, why would I pay money? But now it is a career option. But the most important thing in this is you have to go up on stage and keep trying. There are times when it be soul crushing, because if you don't get the laughter in Toastmasters, you get evaluation later, much later after the speech. In comedy, you get instant feedback. You get a laughter, okay, you're a good comic. You don't get any laughter, it's soul crushing. It's like you start questioning your very existence. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Do I even belong here? But you have to keep at it. You have to keep trying. In fact, in Kathmandu, of course, regularly it's happening. Now there are Zoom open mics. Most of them are free. You can go attend any of them. In fact, not just in Nepal, India, all over the world. Just go attend open mics. And if you are interested in stand-up comedy, start writing. Start noticing anything strange or anything funny that's happening around you. Note it down, write down everything or record it. That's what comedians do. Make mind maps if you have to. Take up one topic and just go all out. Just rip apart that one topic and see how you can make a set out of it. Now, once you have a set, you try it on the audience, right? You try it on the audience, and obviously, let's say 50% will work, 50% of it will not work. What do? Next time you go back again, remove the part that didn't work. Of course, you have to record your performances also so that you can study it later and understand yourself better. You record it and you see what you can do. And after like about in 2, 3, 4 months, you'll have a nice 10-minute set. Some people even take longer. For me to make a 1-hour set right now, it's taken me, I think, 5 years. Of course, I'm trying new things. I'm seeing what works. You have to also know your audiences. What age group it is, what, if it's international, if it is local, you have to know your audience. So accordingly, you just keep on trying, keep on working at it. So that is my suggestion.
I think, yeah, and I think you, give a pretty, what do you call, a good explanation on what it takes to be a stand-up comedian. And I think it's so cool, stand-up comedy, because the fact that it breaks all barriers. It breaks all barriers. I mean, like the reason, and I think I read somewhere that stand-up comedy was actually first, discovered and promoted in the United States in the 60s, if I'm not wrong, where there was so much of racial disharmony and so much of, like civil discord and stuff like that. And what stand-up comedy did is that in the essence of humor, it broke all barriers and united people all together as one. And I think it's a wonderful form of entertainment. And thank you, Seema. And like she rightfully said, it is doable. It is doable by everybody. And if somebody does have and does feel that you can make people laugh around you and you can go on back to back and say things, you should give it a try.
Yeah.
And Seema, because you mentioned there are these live, stand-up forums and all of that over Zoom. Could you give us a little brief on, a few of them? Could you mention a few of them, which for the viewers, if they want to, go and watch in the future?
For Zoom shows or for live shows?
Live shows, you said, no? Like there are a few.
Yeah, in Kathmandu, like every Mondays, there is an open mic that happens in Jhamsi Khel called Beers and Cheers. Beers and Cheers, every Mondays are funny, it's called. Comedy Tuk Tuk organizes it. And it's a lot of fun, a whole lot of new young comics coming up. It's amazing the kind of material they have. And you really wonder why they haven't made it big yet. And they are all on their way to get up there. So that is one which I go to regularly. Then in Tamil also, there are some that happens regularly. I don't remember, I don't recall the names or the places where in Tamil, yes. So they have these fixed days of the week. Earlier, Shukrabar used to have every Fridays, which is in Lazimpat. So there would be a set number of comics. They would try new material and or old material, and obviously the fee or the entrance are either for open mics. Now, open mics is something where people try. So either it's mostly free or it's very, very basic, like maybe 50 rupees or 100 rupees entry or something like that. But in fact, go watch and even just try and perform.
True. Yeah. For the viewers, did you hear that? You should go try and perform. but then something when Nepal actually opens up, after the post-COVID, when people can get together. But what about the live Zoom ones we're talking about? If somebody wants to, can they be a part of public live stand-up comedy sessions, something like that online?
So what I have been doing is I have a friend in Bombay who produces. When I used to go there, I basically a short time where big comics are performing, but you get a 5-minute spot in that big show just to make your presence felt, and you have to take really tight material in that spot. So she now organizes regular, in fact, every day except for Sundays, every day of the week. She has 5 o'clock. She has a free open mic. I would suggest I regularly post all of these on my Insta stories, and for those who want to attend, should just log into one of the Zoom accounts and attend. Like this is every day at 5 o'clock Indian time, 5 o'clock, except for Sundays. Open mic, just to know what people are talking about. There are different kinds of comedies happening. There's sketch comedy, there's observational, then people have different styles. Some do punning, some do exaggeration. There are all different various ways. You have to discover yourself. You have to try. You have to see where you fit in. You might like to do political jokes. You might like to want to try observational, just like something very random, like something like sweeping the floor during lockdown and make an entire set out of it. That's what people do. So just find out, and if you type comedy in Insta or something, or open mics, just type open mic. You'll find a whole lot of those options, and just go attend. Most of them are free.
Interesting. And like you also said, there are various types and kinds of stand-up comedy too, huh?
Yeah.
Could you again repeat that, please? What are the various types and of stand-up comedy, and what is your specialization, please?
I have an advantage, and I kind of it works for me because we are two of us. So here I am trying to say something, and the puppet that I have is always making fun and always cracking jokes. So it's like a conversation. It's not really a stand-up, because stand-up is basically one person performing. So I have that advantage. But yeah, there are other styles. There are observational comedy. I have observational comedy, or personal, something that has happened to you, something that's true. Because if you just say something like, okay, an alien came and threw a potato on me, that's not funny because that's not real. Okay, you say something which has happened, and okay, you can exaggerate it.
Okay.
You can blow it up, but it has to be true, and it has to be you. It has to happen with you, not just with somebody else. Then it's not fun. Then you will not be able to do justice to your jokes. So yes, that is my style, is punning. I pun a lot. I'm a compulsive punner, and that's why my Twitter handle is entrepreneur. That's
True.
what eventually someday I will make my own company and teach everyone how to be an entrepreneur. uh, I also try exaggeration and sarcasm, and of course, it's a very there's a very thin line between being funny and being offensive.
Mm, mm.
People these days get offended on anything. You talk about it's anything in the world. You talk about an ant, and they'll like animal rights will come and say like, "What is this? How can you make fun of ants and all that?" So of course, you have to keep trying and make sure you don't cross the line when to get people offended. Like, don't do it deliberately. Of course, it's the most important in a very effective platform to convey your message, to express yourself, to be able to send a message across to the community through stand-up comedy. But of course, you have to be a little sensitive. At least I believe in that. You can't just be clumsy or use this power recklessly. Yeah.
Superb. And since you said like some people get offended easily, the other day it just reminded me I had a lot of mosquitoes biting me. I was somewhere. I wanted to kill this mosquito, and the thought came to me, will it offend somebody? So,
Yeah. See, the thing is, I'm a Jain, and in Jainism we preach non-violence. So we're not even supposed to kill a mosquito. And especially this is our religious week going on, and yeah, I would get offended if you do that. If you do that.
ah, okay. So you'd rather have mosquitoes bite me all over my body, but I don't kill a single one, is it?
Yeah, yeah. You can shoo them away.
Oh, I'll shoot them over. Yeah,
Or
I
put
can only
a
hope.
patch on your shirt, or what the kids do these days. Put a mosquito patch or something.
Ah, like that. Okay, okay. Thank you. So kind of you, and so much of love for the mosquitoes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Seema. Now, since we're talking so much about stand-up comedy, humor being the main guideline and the main, the defining factor of this element of stand-up comedy, which brings me to my next question. Humor is beautiful. It lights up every situation and brings life to the most boring of environments too. We all want people with good sense of humor around us. Along this line, can anybody learn to be humorous, or they need to be born with it? Simadi, what's your take on that?
I feel anybody can be humorous. Of course, it helps if you are also born with it. But if you want to be humorous, you can be. You really have to, first you have to decide, okay, I want to be funny. And then you start working towards it. It's a long process. It's a very, very long process. Keep trying, keep being funny, because any speech or any kind of a gathering without humor, it's boring. It's absolutely boring. Even if you give a 10-minute speech and there is either has to be really inspirational or gripping, but one joke will get everybody glued to your speech, what you are talking about. So yes, you can be humorous. I like my style of punning. I wasn't always that much of a punner, but I've developed this skill, this art. Keep on trying, break the word. Basically punning is a pun is having words with double meanings, and of course comedians only work on double meanings most of the time. So it is developed over a period of time. Keep trying, keep practicing, and then find out what is your style. What do you prefer? What makes you laugh? See, if you laugh, right, you already have a sense of humor, I believe, because you are getting the jokes. If you're getting the jokes, you can even crack a joke or two, right?
Sure.
So if you really can't laugh, if you don't laugh, then probably you need to work on that first. First, start laughing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, there is a best way to start humor is self-deprecating humor. what comedians do is, like suppose I have a squint. Before the audience find that odd in me, I will address it myself. Like, okay, I'm talking to you, but actually this guy here is wondering why I'm looking at him. So he's already made fun of himself, like this person. I know of a comedian who does that. Or if you're short, just address it, address your height, address your weakness, your shortcomings. And then that way people will not laugh at that. Then they start laughing at your jokes. Right. And obviously you can make joke of something that is yours, not somebody else's. Like I can make jokes about my kids, but I would dare not allow anybody else to make fun of my kids. Why? They're my kids. I can make fun of them. I can make fun of my married life,
Sure.
but nobody else can, because this is mine. I have the right to do it. Right. So same thing goes with, it's like, who am I to make fun of America or Donald Trump? It's not mine. It doesn't belong to me. Right. So that's, these are things that you should always remember when cracking jokes. If it is yours, nobody can take it away from you.
Okay, so like you said, you don't need to be born with it. Everybody can develop this quality of being humorous. But to be humorous, you need to be able to laugh first and to connect with what jokes are being said, and then that is the first mind frame to develop that you said. And it's true. I mean, like, without humor, I mean, can you imagine life without humor? I mean, like, how boring that would be. So rightfully said.
Yeah.
Humor is the basics. I think it's the basics, and you'd want everybody to have this element of humor. So yeah, thank you for giving your viewpoints on that. Now, Seema, like, we have come to our last sort of question now for this talk show. So it's got to do with your views, and not your views, your message to the youth. But however, along with that, could you, because me knowing whatever I know about you, I know you've been through so much of challenges yourself, as a woman. Today is the Seema. So, I would also, besides your what do you call message, I would also request you to talk about the challenges that you faced personally as a woman along your journey, few stuff on that, and also if you could give some other messages to the viewers, please. Thank you.
Wow, two very long questions. Long answers I'm going to have, but I will try and
We have a lot of time, FYI.
Okay. So, firstly, challenges. Yeah, I have people coming up to me and asking me, how does it feel being a female comic? And I'm like, I've always been a female. It's the comic. It always feels great being a female, and it feels greater being a comic. Mm-hmm. Then there are people who ask me, how much do you charge? I'm like, hello? Can you be a little more specific? There are a whole lot of these questions. And then there are challenges like, of course, at this age, now I started my, if you see most of these world famous ventriloquists like Jeff Dunham or Nina Conti, they started ventriloquism when they were 4 and 5 years old. They got their first puppet when they were 4 and 5. I ordered my first puppet when I was 40. So I started very late in life. So that again, age is also a challenge, because in my field, most of them, I would say 80% are in their 20s. For me, it's like literally like my kids' age. I have a 23-year-old daughter, so it's just their age, and I'm talking, and the way they talk, the way they think, I am not able to relate to them. So that's another challenge. Like once, for example, I'll give you an example. I was in Bombay in Canvas Club, Laugh Club, Green Room. Now, this was an all-girls fresh faces show. There were about 10 of us in that small little green room in Bombay, and it was like full of smoke. Somewhere in the smoke, on the wall, it was written no smoking, but that nobody could see because of the smoke. And they're all 20, in fact, even some 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds. And suddenly one of these comics, she comes inside and she's just announces like, does anyone have paper? So, and I'm just looking around, I'm sitting and writing my script. So I tear one page from my book and I give it to her. And she just gives me a dirty look saying, not this paper. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's asking for toilet paper. I don't know. It just didn't. I realized the generation gap after that. I'm like, oh my God, I should know what paper is, because it's so common and it's so normal to roll. And I was like, okay, that's the paper, I should just keep quiet. That is one of the thing where people cannot relate to me and I can't relate to them. And okay, there has been time where I start behaving like a mother. In Delhi, in one of the green rooms, I was just sitting, and a comic comes in, the one we are performing. We all have like, we are 4 comics in the room, and all of us have 20 minutes each. So we're like equal. Now we're supposed to behave like one. I'm supposed to treat them like a colleague. Now my challenge was, I was like, this comic wasn't feeling well. I'm like, what happened? And he said, yeah, I have an upset stomach. I'm like, okay, can I give you something, medicine? I had a medicine in a bag. I ordered curd rice for him. I don't know why I started mothering him. And even he was shocked. He's like, why is she taking so much interest in me? And I asked him, listen, if you don't mind, can you just please tell me how old you are? And he's like, 25. I said, listen, I have a 22-year-old, that time she was 22, 22-year-old daughter, so please don't mind me behaving like this. And then he was like, oh, no wonder, I've never experienced anybody being so nice to me ever. Because previously, whenever he's had, some kind of illness and all, what they'll do is, okay, send him on stage first, let him go first and send him home. We don't even want him around, like, because if he has an upset stomach or whatever his issue may be. And so these are the small kind of challenges. Of course, people would prefer a male comic over a female. Somehow they don't have the confidence. The other challenge is, not that I use profanity in my comedy, but if a male comic is abusive and he's using profanity on the house, he'll get a lot more laughter as against a female comic doing the same jokes and cracking the same this thing, except that I don't know why the audiences are not very accepting of a woman abusing. Even if it's a simple abuse, it's a very daily abuse, but somehow I don't know, they're not at all accepting. I don't know. So that's again another challenge. But yeah, it's also, there's also an advantage, of course. The advantage is you're a woman and there are very few of you. So somehow every Women's Day, they remember you. Every Tej, they might think of you. No, I'm not referring to you, Tarun, but if you got the message, what the hell.
Okay.
And so, yeah, there are advantages also. And my thing is, just take challenges as an opportunity. Don't usually what happens is opportunity disguises itself as a challenge, and you don't realize it then. It's only after you take it and you try it. And Tarun, you mentioned something about failing. You have to learn. You have to fail a lot. Honestly, I don't think. Yeah, fail often, but I don't think there's anything called failing, because it's all learning eventually. So don't call it a failing. Either you win or you learn. There is no losing or failing, according to me. So that is a part of it. What was your second question again?
What was your thing and your other, general, what do you call, message to the youth from your perspective, of the new generation? Like you said, so much generation challenges and stuff. So what is the unique messages that you want to give out?
I think the generation is like really privileged. They're really blessed. They have no idea what they have, so they have to learn to appreciate what they have. During my time in school, like I studied in a convent school, and it was a done thing that there were these 2 girls who would take part in elocution, and only they were allowed to do all kind of public speaking and any kind of talking on stage. We didn't even try or think that we could ever go up on stage, or we could do something like that. Now what happens is, in the education system, public speaking is one of the very important topics, and everybody is encouraged to speak and to share news or some activity that will make a child go up on stage and speak. So yeah, you're very lucky. Take advantage of that, because it, like I said before, it's a life skill. You have to go up on stage and just talk, try different ways, be adventurous, be open, be yourself. If you copy somebody else, it's not fun. So my 3 very important messages, Tarun, if you're listening to me, I need your attention. 1, be you, because everyone else is taken, right? 2, be positive. I mean, not just necessarily blood type, but be positive in attitude. And thirdly, be unique. I mean, why try to fit in when you're born to stand out? With that note, I think these are my messages to the youth. Messages. Tarun, over to you.
Thank you. Just to repeat the few words, like you said, there is nothing, just for the viewers. I mean, I had mentioned earlier, fail sooner, fail more and fail sooner. However, Seema, explain to the viewers the whole actual grasp of that, because there is nothing called actually failing, because every time you fail, you actually learn. So yes, you put that into perspective pretty well. So what she was saying is that keep trying, irrespective of what. She also said, be adventurous, and it's required. And then she ended off with this three words, which she said, three messages specifically. One is be yourself, be you, be yourself. And that's so true, because we all are individual characters on our own, and we shouldn't try to fit in with somebody or to somebody. So you should always be yourself. And she also said, be positive in your attitude, not the blood group, of course. Be positive in your attitude, like she said. And I think that is so true. I think that's so true, because if you for the viewers, I mean, like, if you ask all successful people across all streams, be it an athlete, business person, politician, whatever it is, one message they will of course say, be positive. So that is so true, because when you're positive, you let the best of yourselves come out, and so this is a very good message to the viewers, especially in these tough times of COVID. You may have a lot of stressful situations, and things may not be going right because you may be feeling really bored and frustrated. But it's very important to maintain this attitude of positivity. So very rightfully said, Seema. So please be positive, everybody. And third thing she said, be unique. And that's so true again. And that was the whole purpose actually for having this talk show. I mean, like, we had multiple options and we have other talk show guests as well, but then we really insisted for this because there's so much of diversity in this, it's so unique. As the heading suggests, be you, be yourself. So that's so true, because everybody has something or the other which is unique. And like we earlier said, somebody may not know about it. So it takes some time to get to that point. And it's important for you to believe in that element of uniqueness that you may personally possess, So it's very important to be unique, everybody. Don't go by the status quo. Don't go by everything the society has to say, because like she clearly said, ours is a generation which is a very lucky generation. And in the previously generation, it was all about, by limited options that people had to be in life, be it a doctor, be it an engineer, X, Y, Z. Today, the internet and digital, world has opened up countless possibilities, So today somebody can have unique skills. You may just go on YouTube, for example, and, get access to your audience. So there's so much of platforms, So it's very important to believe in the element of uniqueness for yourself. So yes, three things: be you, yourself, be positive in attitude, be unique. Thank you so much, Seema. That is a very simple, short, but powerful message for the youth. And thank you also for sharing the challenges that you faced as a woman, the sexism challenge, the generation challenges, the moments when you go into the mom mode, But however, you also mentioned the advantages that you've had, the fact that you're one of the few females and that way people remember you, So I think it was amazing. Unless lastly, does Jack Janal want to say anything to the viewers before we wrap up?
No, let me get him out.
Could you take him out of your pouch?
Come on, this one, you just say goodbye.
No, I don't want to say bye.
Come on, Jack.
Hello again.
Hello, Jack. Any message for the viewers finally before we disconnect?
No, don't disconnect. That's my message.
No, they have to disconnect. It's lunchtime now. So
Yeah. And no, so Jack, Jack, I want to ask you, tell something, just one line. Today is Tej. It's a special day for women. It's a very important day in Nepal today. Would you, Jack, like to give one line of positive message to the women in general, please?
No, I want to give a message to all the guys.
To the guys only? Oh, that's so sexist, Jack.
what is the message you want to give to all the guys, Jack?
Well, I think they should be fasting too.
They should be fasting too.
Yeah, why only the women has to fast?
Yes, actually, why do only women fast?
Well, that's a very deep, topic to be discussed. It's a societal conversation, Jack. So I think it will take a much deeper level of people to discuss on that topic.
So I'll see you on next stage. That means,
yeah, if he wants to call us again next stage.
Yeah, I mean, Sure, Jack, but we'll only do that, and we'll only do that if you promise to be a good person. Sorry, a good puppet, Jack.
It's an oxymoron.
Okay, okay. Oxymoron, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Please go back to your pouch again.
Thank you. You can go.
So,
Both of us are going, and thank you so much, Tarun.
Thank you so much again.
Okay.
you know, it was, yeah, thank you. It was amazing. And just before we end off this talk show, I would like to again pass the message to the youths. As we all know, we are in this lockdown situation, and COVID is a very serious reality. And, we got to take care of ourselves and our families back home. There may be older people who may be vulnerable, So please put on your masks, clean your hands, sanitizers all the time, maintain your social distancing. And let's again end off this talk show with a hope that we get our lives back to normal, though normal is not going to be the same. So that's all. And please maintain your positivity again, and believe, have faith and believe in the good times again rolling, which it will. It's only a matter of time. We expect some vaccine to come out, So Theo Bande, thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy your Friday and Saturday. And we look forward to the next audience for the next talk show, which is a special guest surprise for now. Thank you so much, Seema. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Namaste. Goodbye.